Today we're talking about makeup products that can last you 8 to 10 hours. If you use these products, your makeup is not going anywhere. Typically, I talk about techniques that get your makeup to last on longer, but the products that you're using are so important in getting your makeup to last on longer because some products, regardless of what technique you're using, they just don't last long on the skin. So I've already done my eyes because I wanted to focus on complexion products that stay on all day long. So first, I love this ELEMIS Dynamic Resurfacing Facial Pad. I would highly recommend using a facial pad because it really helps to clean your face, and when your face is clean, it really helps to make your makeup stay put without moving around. Sometimes our makeup gets absorbed, also sometimes looks patchy. It doesn't look the same way when we initially apply it, so using a facial pad is really going to help you clean your skin to make sure it's clean so that the products stick on your skin all day long. The next, I like to moisturize my skin. I love this Neutrogena Glow Primer Serum because it has hyaluronic acid, and hyaluronic acid is one of those ingredients that you need to make your makeup last on longer because you're feeding your skin with the proper nutrients that it needs while you're having your makeup on. I love the serum because it's very lightweight. It doesn't feel oily or greasy on my skin. Definitely want to apply products that absorb pretty fast on your skin before applying makeup so that you don't have to wait so long before you can apply your foundation. So next is primer. I usually like using a gripping primer because it helps to grip your makeup, and once your makeup is gripped on your skin, it stays put all day long. And my favorite gripping primer is this Milk Hydro Grip Primer. This is great for all skin types. I find this primer very hydrating on my skin, so it leaves my skin feeling really comfortable, but I also like it because it's not too tacky. It doesn't feel too sticky on my skin. So I like to just apply one pump of this primer all over my skin, making sure to also apply it at the perimeter because I'm also going to place makeup and foundation around that area. When you want your makeup to last on longer, one thing you want to remember is stick to using a lot of hydrating product. Water mixes really well with most makeup products. Sometimes it might not mix well with oil, but I find that water-based products mix really well with a lot of makeup products. Then after applying that primer, I like to go in with the Milk Hydro Grip Setting Spray. As you can see, I have used and abused this product because it is one of my favorite setting sprays. Applying setting spray on top of primer is going to help seal that hydration. So I like to spray my face right before applying foundation. This is going to help your makeup last on longer, and it's gonna give it a really nice skin-like finish. If I'm looking to go somewhere and I want my makeup to last on like 12 plus hours, my go-to foundation is the Estée Lauder Double Wear Foundation. I'm telling you, if you don't have this foundation and your makeup isn't lasting a long time, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, you need this foundation. Literally, this foundation does not move on my skin. It is one of my favorite long wearing foundations because it blends really nicely on the skin, but once it settles, like, it stays put all day long. It's also a full coverage foundation, which I love, and it also gives me a really nice natural finish. It doesn't look cakey on my skin. I like to make sure my skin is really hydrated because once it settles down on my skin, it gives me a matte finish, and because I have dry skin, I want my skin to look radiant and not dry. So I'm using the shade 6W2, and the foundation does not come with a pump, so I like to just apply a very small amount and build up the coverage. So I just like to press this in with a beauty sponge, and as you can see, my skin looks really healthy right now. It looks glowy, so it doesn't take away from the glow of the skin, but once it settles down on my skin, it stays put. It gives it a soft matte finish, and it just looks really nice and skin-like. Now, this foundation is quite pricey. I do feel like it's worth it, and on top of that, it lasts all day. Nothing like I have ever seen in a drugstore foundation, so I personally feel like this is worth the splurge when it comes to foundation. When it comes to concealer, I find drugstore concealers to be one of the best, if anything, the best concealers, because they really have everything that a high-end concealer contains. So my favorite concealer for long-lasting makeup is this Revolution IRL concealer. So the shade that I use is 13.5, which gives me a very natural finish. I never thought a concealer can be a self-setting concealer where you feel like sometimes you won't need setting powder, especially if you have dry under eyes. This concealer right here, it stays put and it does not move. So if you're looking for a concealer that doesn't crease on you, this is it right here. So it has a soft matte finish and it really gives a really nice smooth blend. I like to use a shade that is closer towards the color of my skin, just a little bit lighter, maybe like 2 or 3 shades lighter. And I also like to build up the coverage. So because this is a very lightweight concealer, I like to to let it sit on my skin a little bit just so that it can get tacky, so we can get that coverage. So once it's tacky, you want to go in with a beauty blender and just blend out that concealer. And as you can see, this is like really easy to blend. Like, it is not caking up on me. It literally is blending like butter on my skin, which is why I love this concealer for long lasting makeup, because it doesn't cake up under my eyes at all. It also leaves my under eyes feeling hydrated. Like I mentioned, it has a soft matte finish, so it looks just like your skin. So I like to go in with a little bit more concealer. You can stop here if you want, but I just want a little bit more highlight under my eyes, and I want a little bit more coverage, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more. All right, so next is contour. I feel like with contour, you can just use powder, or you can use a cream or a liquid contour. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a long-lasting contour. So I'm gonna use the NYX Wonder Stick. This is in the shade D. So it comes with a cream contour and a highlighter. So I'm gonna blend this out with a brush. I love this contour because it's easy to blend, so it just melts into your skin. Using a cream contour on your skin, especially when your skin is hydrated or moisturized, it allows the contour to blend really nicely. You don't want to use harsh contours that are hard to blend because those will create patchiness on your makeup. Your makeup is not going to look blended. So I like to blend the contour in circular motions so that it looks nice and natural. One of my favorite setting powders to get my under eyes to be snatched all day long is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus setting powder. So this is more of like a translucent powder. I feel like it gives my under eyes a really nice highlight. At the same time, it sets those oils from the concealer. So I like to take the powder on an under eye concealer brush and just press that under my skin. I prefer using a brush with loose powder because it really helps to set that concealer and stay in place all day long, versus using a powder puff. I like using powder puffs for pressed powders just because I feel like they pick up the product a little bit better. So as you can see, there's a huge difference in the way my skin looks like. With the powder, it literally gives me a really nice smooth finish. It's a translucent powder, so it doesn't look ashy on my skin. It still leaves the coverage of the concealer showing under my eyes. There are also other setting powders that I feel like are great, such as like the Makeup Forever Ultra HD setting powder. This is a good powder for oily skin. I feel like if you have dry under eyes, this powder wouldn't be ideal for you. The Wet n Wild powder is good for all skin types. It doesn't leave my under eyes feeling dry, and that's the reason why I wanted to use it in today's video. But I do also want to mention that this is also one of my favorite long-lasting setting powders. So with this powder, I like to place it on all the areas that I applied concealer to help set that concealer so it doesn't move, because concealer tends to move around the skin a lot. And I also like to use a little bit of that powder and just set around my mouth area as well, and all the areas where I have oils. This can also be used to set your foundation. Like I mentioned, it's a translucent powder, so it's not going to add any color onto your skin. As you can see, this powder gives me a really nice soft matte finish. Like, it looks like my skin. I love that it blurs out my pores, so it gives me a smooth finish. I like to use bronzer just to add warmth to my skin, because sometimes my skin can look a little bit pale, especially if I use a lot of cool tone products. So my favorite long-lasting bronzer is this Revolution Splendor Glow Bronzer. I've been using this bronzer for years and it's been my favorite. I have not found a longer lasting bronzer than this bronzer. It has a matte finish, so it stays put on your skin all day long, but I like to apply this bronzer on top of my contour. So I like to apply a cream contour and set the contour with this bronzer. So I like to just apply this right where I apply the contour. This is gonna add a little bit of warmth because contour tends to be cool tone, and I also like to apply it in circular motion so that it diffuses really nicely and doesn't look too harsh. And I also like to focus this on my jawline as well. It's gonna give me that nice sun-kissed look. So I like to use a long-lasting blush, and one that I found is this Rare Beauty liquid blush. This is one of the long-lasting blushes that you will ever find. It's a liquid blush, but it dries down matte on the skin. The color payoff is amazing. Even if your skin absorbs a little bit of the product, you still see that product even after like 6 hours, 8 hours of wearing your makeup. I like to mix the shade Lucky and the shade Grace, just to give me that nice soft pink blush look. So because the blush is highly pigmented, I like to spread it around like this, and I like to apply it with a brush because I find that a brush applies better after you apply powder on your skin. So one thing about blush I found out is that it is the most easily absorbed product on the skin. Sometimes when I apply blush, it disappears in like 2 hours. So as you can see, the blush is really pigmented on the skin, but it dries down matte, so it doesn't look oily or greasy on the skin. Once you apply it, it literally stays put all day. So I like to go back in with the applicator that I use for the setting powder and just kind of get rid of all those harsh lines close to where the blush meets with the powder, and this will give you a super natural finish. When it comes to lip liners, I love some that are really pigmented and easy to apply, and I feel like these by Rare Beauty are really nice and they glide on your lips really well. I feel like when it comes to lip products, a lot of them don't last on my lips a long time, so I'm just gonna go in with these NYX butter glosses. The shade that I'm using is Cranberry Pie. So if you're looking for a setting spray that will lock your makeup in all day long, you definitely don't want to go in with a hydrating setting spray. You want to go in with a long lasting one that gives you a matte finish. So the one that I would highly recommend and I've been using for years is the Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. The same way with the Estée Lauder foundation, I feel like this is one of the products that you really need to have in your collection to get your makeup to last on like 16 plus hours. I feel like everybody needs the Urban Decay All Nighter spray in their makeup collection because this can get your makeup to last on like 8 to 10 hours without budging or moving. And I feel like foundation and setting sprays are the two most important things that get your makeup to stay put. So you definitely need a good setting spray, and this is the one that I would recommend. So once you apply these products, your makeup is not going anywhere. But if you haven't caught up on my previous video, then definitely check it out right here. This is a Sephora haul where I share with you guys my favorite products at Sephora. I really hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys on my next video.
KLJ, welcome to a channel where it's poppin'.